Hi, we are in Revelation chapter 3, titled The Dead Church. We are going to just dive into it because I smell a series. Because when I read this passage, I had the questions like, what is a dead church? What does a dead church look like? What is the opposite of a dead church? And in that context, because ain't nobody going to heaven because you belong to a church. So, what is a dead Christian? And do we have dead Christians? Heck yes. They are the ones who are being talked to about here. And what is the opposite of a dead Christian? Right? And then, which begged the question, God, where am I dead? If I am dead, please show me. Please take a moment and ask the Lord that, because at the end of the day, can you imagine? Something caught me this morning, and I realized that there's someone in my life who I am praying so desperately for, who has an unbelievably kind heart, but they have turned away from the Lord. And it's so unfortunate that their kind heart, that can you imagine living such a wonderful life and having such a kind heart? Someone once called it a golden heart, and then not seeing heaven. Can you imagine the tragedy? Let's just dive into it. The dead church, and to the angel of the church in Sardis write, these things says he who has the seven spirits of God and the seven stars. We know this is Jesus talking. We already know that since he started talking from chapter 1 where we met him, and he's basically describing himself when he says, he who has seven spirits of God and the seven stars. I know your works. Please read chapter 1. I know your works, that you have a name, that you are alive, but you are dead. This one, when I was researching, it basically is. Can you imagine that? I don't want to say mega church, but unfortunately, they tend to be the ones we all know are the mega churches. They have names, but they are, they have names, but they zero works, there's zero transformation, there's zero discipleship, there's zero miracles, there's zero God. That is a dead church. So you are reputable, as in unajulikana mazei church fulani hapa, lakini when I was doing my research, one of the things that came up was you lack any spiritual opposition. Your church does not face any spiritual opposition. Why? Because you're not causing any waves. You have compromised, and therefore you're living in tune with the world that is around you. Therefore, there is no friction, there is no opposition. There's this pastor I love listening to. He says, if the devil is not attacking you, it's because you are headed in the same direction. If you are not receiving any opposition from the enemy, you are literally headed in the same direction. Hana haja na wewe, as in hana haja kukusumbua. Kwa nini akusumbue na mko njia moja? If you're not receiving any opposition from the enemy, my friend, check where you're going. Anyway, be watchful and strengthen the things which remain, that are ready to die, for I have not found your works perfect before God. Before God. Therefore, remember therefore how you have received and heard. Hold fast and repent. Therefore, if you will not watch, I will come upon you as a thief, and you will not know what hour I will come upon you. You have a few names even in Sardis who have not defiled their garments. Then they shall walk with me in white, for they are worthy. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments. As the more we read Revelation, the more we get to see people getting clothed in garments. Your righteousness is like white garments. That is why we are told our self-righteousness is like filthy garments. It's like there's something there. It's like you're clothed in white. When you're righteous, the Lord's kind of righteousness, Christ's righteousness that you cannot attain by yourself, that only Christ can help you attain, because He's in you, He's living in you, therefore correcting you, and you're being obedient, and loving. There you get clothed in white. Okay, the other one where you're doing, the person I was saying has a golden heart, but has rejected Christ. Their acts, their self-righteousness, unfortunately, is like filthy rags. They don't go anywhere. I will come upon you. You have a few names. I have said that. And you walk with me in white, for you are worthy. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot out his name from the book of life. Which made me question. But I think the more I see this, the more I read Revelation, again, read it, I am seeing that it is very possible to not see heaven even as you're busy calling yourself a Christian. Even if you've accepted Christ, but there's something else there. There is more to just accepting Christ. You have to live. You have to let Him work Himself out. Then you have to help, because we are told work your salvation out in fear and trembling. Why? If it doesn't matter what you do after you're born again, it matters. It matters because once He has come into your heart, you need to transform your acts. You need to have fruits, and your acts need to be different. Your language needs to be different. As in, you cannot continue. You cannot. You and your neighbor need to be different. Someone, again, the same pastor usually says, like, there are some Christians who, if they are reported for being Christians, there will be no enough to convict them. As in, you don't have enough works as a Christian. Your life is not showing any Christianity in you. Okay. I hope that makes sense. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot out his name from the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. I have a few notes that I would love to go through, because these ones are the ones now, as I'm asking myself, well, what is a dead church? Reputation without reality. They have a reputation but no reality of whatever. So the Sardis church was known for its activity and perhaps even orthodoxy, yet Jesus declared it spiritually dead. This suggests that a church can have a bustling calendar and still lack genuine spiritual vitality. Number two, lack of spiritual vigilance. Jesus commands the church to wake up and strengthen what remains. This implies that complacency and a failure to remain spiritually alert contributed to their deadness. You have to be vigilant and be watchful. Just because you're born again, your work is not to sleep. You have to pray, engage, read the word, spend time with the Lord. Okay? That is the only way you remain spiritually alert. Worship. Absence of persecution or struggle. Unlike other churches addressed in Revelation, Sardis faced no external. This one was funny. Sardis faced no external opposition. We are not told anything about the external opposition. However, even the corrupt church do not have any external opposition. Even the compromising church, right, do not have any external opposition. But that's also showing, possibly because it posed no threat to prevailing cultural norms. Again, if you are facing no opposition from the enemy, honey, you're headed in the same direction. Their peaceful existence may have been a sign of compromise rather than faithfulness. Nominal Christianity. Members of the Sardis church were Christians in name only, lacking a genuine relationship with Christ. They went through the motions of faith without transformative power. There is nowhere. There's one day I had a revelation that when you get to the presence of the Lord, everything falls away. Sickness, jealousy, what else? Anger, fear, whatever, the unforgiveness. It all falls away when you are in the presence of the Lord. Have you tried that? Go in the presence of the Lord when you are worshiping or whatever. Just lay yourself bare. Lay yourself bare and let him see. I guarantee you those things do not remain active in your life. They flee. They flee. They will try to creep up to you later on when you now going about your day. The fear will come back. The hatred will come back. But in the presence of the Lord, those things do not remain standing. Unfinished works. Jesus notes that their deeds were not complete in the sight of God, indicating a lack of perseverance and depth in their spiritual practices. Modern examples of reflecting Sundays. Churches focused on appearance. Congregations that prioritize aesthetics, programs, and social status over spiritual growth and discipleship mirror Sardis' emphasis on reputation. I will not continue because my time is up. I told you I smell a series, but don't worry, I'll be right back to continue with this. I'll just start from modern examples of reflecting Sardis in the next video, and then we are going to talk about what an spiritually awake church looks like. We can't just talk only about the bad stuff, can we? Bye.